gibberish, and at the bottom of the screen, it's like interpreting for him, and it's like he's like negotiating deals with different teams, and he's like, How many games do I have to play in a season to get paid? And then he's like asking about the nightlife and all this stuff.
Oh man,
it's hilarious. Those are funny. People got too much time on their hands, huh?
They really do.
I know, but it creates such good entertainment.
There's good memes around.
Yeah, good.
Dude, that whole world. As much as I hate social media, I do love it for that.
The memes?
Yeah, you like all these submarine memes too. Have you seen those?
Oh yeah,
Holy
quite a
shit.
few of them.
It's pretty ruthless. I mean, considering what happened. But
Did they find them ever?
No.
No,
think
nothing
they-
whatsoever. I haven't kept up with it.
Crushed like a beer can.
Like it
underwater.
just-
I don't think they
just went under.
expect to find
Really,
No,
nothing.
they found the debris. It
debris, but
crushed.
yeah, but the like
Oh,
human
the people,
remains, I don't
no,
think
no.
they're like
Just
a thing.
crushed it.
Just gone.
I think I heard when it like blew up, it like liquefies everything in your body, like the pressure and stuff in there.
It would be quick.
Like it's like instantaneous. You're just gone.
It's pretty wild to me. I always thought it was wild that, I mean, obviously, I think that Bezos' whole thing going to space must have been a lot more regulated, or maybe, but that was always mind blowing to me that you could just
Dump a sub and go.
yeah, you could just like, well, we could just build something, and go down the Titanic. We could build a spaceship and go to space. Like I would have thought, like there'd have been more of like somebody saying, no, you can't do that.
You shouldn't go down that far.
Submarine's like one of those things that just doesn't make sense to me anyway.
you-
Like
there's
you're
no-
going to get
there's no
into a
escape.
metal tube, and I'm going to go underwater.
Where it's dark.
This just doesn't add up for me. Seems completely sketchy from the get go.
I could never do it. Just claustrophobic.
Yeah,
I
I
know.
mean,
I couldn't even get in that thing and close the hatch above.
No
I'm
way.
claustrophobic
Yeah.
bad too.
Is that a little tiny one? Does that have a bathroom? It looks so small. Like
No.
I
have
think
you
they
never
said you have to pee in a bag or
Pee in a
something.
bag?
have you never seen the
No, I don't.
inside of it? It's beyond tiny.
my time is way more better spent doing other things.
I mean, I agree.
On sports memes?
Sports memes instead of current event memes, you're on sports memes.
Forget underwater exploration. It's memes
Well,
only.
like pretty ruthless memes out there about that one. It's wild.
Was it to see the Titanic?
Yeah.
Is that,
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I know. You can just
I
Google
mean,
a picture of it. They got
there's a-
lots of them.
There's a movie. It's Brady's favorite movie, Titanic.
I
Right?
mean,
No,
it was
Lord
my
of the
favorite
Rings.
movie.
You know this, Lord of the Rings.
It was my favorite movie as a kid because of one scene.
Yeah.
I think we all know the scene.
I did after this whole Titanic thing happened. I told my wife we should show the kids the Titanic. That's a good movie. And I was like,
There's one
I need to
scene.
rewatch it again first and see if it's appropriate. Because I've shown my kids lots of movies lately that from our childhood. And I'm like,
Yeah.
that's a good one. We should show them. Then we get like halfway into it, and my wife and I are looking at each other like, oh,
Holy shit.
All the movies
We
back
should turn
then.
this off. I don't remember how inappropriate this was.
All the movies back then are inappropriate.
16
for kids these
Candles.
days.
Yeah. What movies have you shown your kids lately? Can you think of any of them off the top
That
of
were
your head?
inappropriate?
Yeah, I mean, just in
can't-
general.
Well, I've been showing them like some classics. Like they love Happy Gilmore.
Oh, yeah.
They're trying to go to some classics like that. Like Billy Madison was a little more inappropriate than I remember showing them that.
But it's not
you know?
that.
It's not that bad.
Yeah.
But there's some things in there like, oh. Like my
Yeah.
8-year-old daughter's like watching it like
Happy Gilmore when he goes to his happy place. His grandma.
Well, that one was good and they loved it. I can't really think of any others, but occasionally there'll just be like a random, I don't know what, will pop up topic. And I'm like, oh, that movie's good. We should show that one to the kids.
Yeah.
We're getting old, Jeff. That's what it is, man.
I know.
We got Jeff Sposito from Stone Glacier on today. We conned him to coming down
Yeah.
to Vegas.
So we got the big man.
The big man.
The
What is
main
your
man.
official title of Stone Glacier?
President, I suppose.
President.
CEO,
Not a
president,
big title
chairman.
guy, but yeah.
Decision ever decision making.
You don't have a plaque? Do you have a plaque on your office that says no?
No plaque in my office.
Nothing.
No windows in my office. No.
You took your hat off in that meeting earlier today, and I was going to tell you your life must be way too easy because you have zero gray hair. For you to be,
Well, I got some.
true.
I got some in my goatee, but I
for
shaved
you
it
to
off,
be
so.
all decision maker of a brand, it must be way too easy.
Jeff usually has a sick mustache, and he's still
Yeah,
got a good one going on.
I haven't had the handlebar mustache in a while.
Yeah.
It got too hipster, too mainstream.
Right.
I'm sad that
Had to
Trail
go.
shaved his
I
recently
did
too.
shave mine. Mine was pretty good.
Yeah, it was legit.
Yeah, it'll come back, I'm sure, at some point.
Let's hope.
I haven't had a mustache in a while, so I shaved and I got the goatee, and I was getting some gray hairs in there. Now I'm nervous that if I grow it back, it's going to be like all gray.
You got none in the mustache.
Yeah,
Just go for it.
Yeah.
Lorenzo's getting a little.
A little, Jesus.
I've noticed. Yeah, lately. It's
A little.
in the sideburns, it's starting
It's
to.
all on the sideburns.
It's
That's
a
why I
good
cut my hair short.
sophisticated look.
Salt
pepper.
and pepper.
Yeah, I always wanted that salt and pepper
Experience.
look.
Yeah.
Brady's getting a little in his goatee.
Distinguished.
Did you cut your hair? Did you? It looks
I
shorter.
did. I cut it. I feel like less of a man.
Did you really?
Yeah, I honestly do.
It's a very odd thing to say. You feel like less of a man for cutting your hair.
I only cut my hair once a year, and every time I do it, I'm like, why did I cut that much off?
Maybe a
I
little
should
less
have had
homeless, too?
more frequent haircuts.
When you have hair that long and you go in, do you just tell them what? You want to trim?
Yeah, it's like just
Is that how that works?
I want to know Brady Miller's grooming. What is it? What do you tell him? What do you do?
I was like, just cut a couple inches off. I'm like, okay.
You go
Like,
in
is it-
somewhere to do that? Can't you do that on your own?
I probably could do it on my own, yeah. But
That would be more manly if that's. I mean,
That's
that's
true.
clearly what you're going for.
I feel really weird though walking in. There's all those like, hot chicks everywhere, like actually doing stuff. I'm like, yeah, I'm just a dude. Just cut my hair, like give me 2 inches off, and walk out really quickly. It's like takes 5 minutes.
You know-
Such is
you know,
It
such a-
costs like $45.
You know, say
for
something
the-
like, just trim off the split ends for me or something.
I got split in.
That was my hope. Just trim the split ends.
Give me a hair treatment and cut the split ends, please.
We appreciate you coming down. We wanted to sit down with you and just kind of do a little podcast and
Yeah.
explore all things Stone Glacier.
Sounds great.
I guess before we get started, we hit you with the promo. Brady, do you want me to hit the promo
Yeah,
today?
hit
this
us with
week?
the promo, T-Rail.
Yep. So we're still in app season. I guess we're not in app season per se. We're for guys like me that didn't get an elk tag this year.
the leftover tag.
Leftover tags, OTC stuff. Those are getting a little bit harder to find, but you can still pick up an OTC tag in Colorado, which is what I've been doing, digging through and doing my research, trying to find an elk tag. But there's still some opportunities out there. It's still actually a really good time to sign up for a goHUNT Insider account or even an Explorer membership, which is the maps portion of our membership. We have a promo code. It's podcast. You can use that promo when you sign up for an Insider membership and get yourself 50 points back at the goHUNT Gear Shop. Or you can sign up for an Explorer membership and get 20 points back in the goHUNT Gear Shop. You can use that to buy Stone Glacier gear. 1 point's $1. So
What would you buy for
good time of year.
$50, Jeff?
Yeah, what would you buy, Jeff?
$50?
Yeah.
I got to cap it at 50?
No,
Yeah, well-
you can put it towards something.
Yeah, what would you put it towards?
Let's
$50 Stone Glacier product?
Are you saying something about your product?
Well, no, but that's a little limited. But I think we make some of our base layers are a little bit more than that. But our merino wool is awesome. Our merino crew is getting close to that.
Yeah.
It's in that 79 range. Our
There we
merinos-
go.
Hey, you're actually wearing one right now.
It's my favorite piece.
Our merino is really nice.
It's actually one of my favorite, just like shirts in general. Just everyday shirt, I run in it, wearing it, just around town.
You
Yeah.
do wear that all the
I
time.
do wear it a lot.
Yeah, it's
my-
really I'm biased.
A lot
But
of
it's some of the most comfortable merino out there. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
And you can wear it for the base layers. You can't go wrong with. You can use that for everything.
a lot of it's in the fit for me, and then it's like the right weight.
Yeah.
Like I can wear it over a t-shirt, and it's not too bad. But if I can wear it as a base layer, it's the perfect weight, and it just fits good. It's always long
Yeah.
enough.
What is the weight?
I don't know. Do you know?
It's 160, I think.
Yeah, I was gonna say 150, 160,
Yep.
somewhere in there.
Perfect.
Yeah,
It's a good midweight. It's not super light. It can still be durable, but you can wear it for hot weather
gotcha.
conditions as well.
So yeah, put your points. Like I said, $1.1. Put it towards some Stone Glacier gear, and you still got a ton of time to do some research, explore maps. It's a great time to scout. I know that we did last podcast. We talked pretty extensively about scouting. Got out and hung some trail cameras, so I'm stoked.
You did?
Yeah, yep. Got some trail
Really?
cameras. Yeah, just 2. I didn't go all in, but I did get a couple in on just some water sources, which I don't know if it'll help me this year or not, given the fact that there's water everywhere. But
Yeah. See the feed out there lately too? The feed's
Yeah.
outrageous.
yeah, up to my knees, pretty much everywhere you go.
Yeah.
Hey, you
But-
mentioned Colorado leftover tags. When do those come out, or what do you? Is
So
there
you
any
got
good there?
Yeah, you got secondary draw coming up. Deadline is the 30th.
Yep.
Is it tomorrow?
30th. Yep.
No, when is that? What's the
Two
date today?
2 days.
It's
2 days.
Friday. Yeah, it'll be Friday.
Yeah.
Yep. So you still got a couple days. There's some deer tags. It's interesting. I was looking at that list. A lot of those they give 100% preference to youth. So a lot of those tags will go to youth applicants that apply.
cool.
But yeah, it is really cool. And I mean, if you got a youth and they drew a tag, it maybe you could think about upgrading it if you wanted to turn the other one back in and kind of upgrade your tag, because there are some decent tags on that leftover that secondary draw list.
Yeah.
But there's still some tags there, and then just the OTC stuff, which has been trimmed down some. A lot of the, I think, 5-6 units that were OTC last year now went to a draw, but there were still a bunch left over on that secondary draw that you could pick up if you wanted to. But yeah, I mean, there's still a ton of second draw and then OTC tags, which is what I'm looking at doing. So
Yeah, we just dropped a big article too about over-the-counter archery elk opportunities. Broke down even like the Arizona ones, Utah ones, Oregon, Washington, obviously Colorado, Idaho. A lot of stuff out there still people to grab if they want to.
You guys live in Montana. You don't even have to worry about that.
We're pretty lucky.
Must be nice.
Yeah, Montana's a nice state to live in. Everybody always asks to draw anything this year, and
You're like,
I didn't, but it doesn't. It honestly doesn't really matter.
Sometimes the general.
I mean, you want to draw. Obviously, we all want to go do some cool adventures, but we're pretty lucky in Montana. Over the counter, general tag, you can hunt so many things for so long.
How do you manage your own applications? Like, do you apply in other states across the West? Do you apply for like those limited quota tags and just kind of keep Montana in your back pocket in case you need it, or how do you approach that?
I do. I'm not as diligent or as analytical about it as some of the other guys in our office. Just gotten to a point now too, with just a point in my life with work and my kids, where my hunting opportunities are more limited. So I, buy points where I can, but I put in for kind of the standard Western states and. There'll be years where it's like, well, I don't want to draw, so I'll buy a point or put in for something that I'm not likely to draw. And if I do draw it, then I can make some time to go on a good hunt. But Alaska's always awesome. I mean, I'd like to go to Alaska every year if I could. But every couple of years, that's always one where we're pretty stoked to plan a trip, whether it's something that's easy or if you got to put in for a draw. But
was Stone Glacier kind of born out of Alaska?
It was, yeah,
right?
Absolutely was, yeah. So my business partner, Kurt, who founded Stone Glacier, he actually was a high school teacher in Homer for a long time.
Oh, really?
He's born and raised in Montana, but then after school moved to Alaska because he wanted to hunt and fish and just leverage what Alaska had to offer. So he was a high school teacher in Homer for a long time. And
what did he teach? Do you know?
He taught math, I think, and then shop class. He's a really good welder.
Really?
Yeah. And so he taught shop class a lot, but math and history or something, I don't even really know. I was surprised when he told me, but he taught the shop class for a long time. And he is obviously, he's our product designer, so that's a natural fit. Makes a lot of sense.
He's got a wealth of knowledge too.
Yeah, he's built so many crazy things that you don't know about until you ask him. But I mean, he's welded his own aluminum boats. Like, he's big into boat making.
Really?
Actually, the Stone Glacier logo and name was originally on a drift boat that he made, like an aluminum drift boat he welded, and it said Stone Glacier or Stone River Drifter, or maybe it was Stone Glacier Drifter, and it was the same ram we have. And it was on a boat that he built and made. So
That's awesome.
He's
So
just
the
one of those
logo
guys
was the logo he came up with?
Yeah, and then he just repurposed it for the backpack company.
Is it a ram that he killed, that logo?
Yeah, I think it was based off a ram he killed.
It is a great logo. Definitely,
awesome.
it's very eye-catching.
Yeah, we get a lot of people. That's always a good thing. You want to have a good logo. I think you guys got a great logo as well. But we get a lot of people, especially at trade shows, that'll come by the booth and buy a hat and a T-shirt and be like, "I've never even heard of you guys, but that logo is awesome." Like,
Yeah.
sweet. It's
good introduction to the brand.
We'll take your money.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. So it was born in Alaska. Kurt's first pack design was when he was living in Alaska. He was really big into solo sheep hunting. He has a very, I think, unique hunting style. I'd consider it unique. He's very much. I think there's lots of guys out there that are solo hunters, but there's also a lot of guys. I'm maybe more of a social hunter. I like to go with my buddies and my family and do things. But he's very much kind of a nomadic solo hunter. So he's really big into solo sheep hunting. When he lived up there, he after working at the high school, he worked for BP Oil up on the North Slope for a really long time. So he spent a fair bit of his life in Alaska.
What year would have that been? Like when he first started dabbling with his own pack?
It would have been like 2009. So I was working at Sitka at the time, and during that time, Kurt was a Stone Glacier athlete for a very short period. At the time, our
Sitka
athlete. Yeah, sorry. At the time, our Sitka athlete program was really about finding these people that weren't necessarily known or influencers or popular, but were just really passionate and skilled and good at what they do. And Kurt fit that mold pretty well. And that's how we got to know each other. And that was about that time that he was kind of modifying his own pack. Stone Glacier didn't exist then, but he was messing with modifying existing designs and building his own packs. And then he started Stone Glacier in 2012.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so a few years after
I was trying to think in 2009 because I remember what pack would have you been using in 2009? Do you remember? I remember mine would have been a Badlands 4500.
Yeah, the Badlands one.
That was kind of.
I think I was using an MR crew cab. Probably,
a crew cab,
and
an
early version of a Sitka pack.
Yeah.
That was kind of when we first started doing packs at Sitka.
And I remember I bought an MR like one of the Camelback internal frame, packs shortly after that. But I remember 09 for sure because my brother had an elk tag in 09, and I remember he killed a bull, and I had a 4500 Badlands, and I had the head and a hindquarter. And I remember the frame broken too.
those plastic
yeah, those
stays
plastic stays.
Yeah,
and then, no shade on Badlands because for the most part it did its job until I had 100 pounds in it.
Sure.
But yeah, those stays broke, and I remember distinctively thinking something's very wrong here.
It's funny to think about that. I mean, to your point of we're getting old. I mean, that doesn't seem like that long ago, and the innovation technology of all gear, but especially backpacks, has changed so much since then. I mean, it wasn't. I mean, Mr. Ranch was making really quality packs at that time, but in the hunting space, there really wasn't anything.
Yeah, there's kind of been a mad rush in the last maybe 10 years or
Absolutely.
so, 8 to 10 years. That's why I was curious. I mean, at that point, it makes sense to me that he would have been exploring options for backpacks because I don't know.
Wasn't anything out there.
I don't know what else was out there.
Right. That's exactly. I think that really was the precipice of it, and what came of that, and what really set Stone Glacier off and was unique was he took an existing pack design and modified it and created the first load shelf concept where the bag would separate from the frame. And that now you look at it as an innovation and you go back, and that's commonplace in all high-end packs, right? And you think about backcountry hunting without a load shelf, and you wouldn't even consider it. I mean, you can do it, but that's like almost a requirement now.
Yeah.
At the time, it didn't exist, and he was doing the types of hunts where he was going far enough into the backcountry that you weren't going to make multiple trips if you killed something, right? So it was all about, I need to stay as light as I can, but when I kill a sheep, I need to be able to take everything out in one trip. Mm-hmm. And there wasn't anything that could do that had the volume and the capacity to do that. And that was kind of how the load shelf concept was born, is to give you that extra capacity to put the meat in the cape. And
so was that first pack he built, did he build that himself? So it just put it together in his garage?
Yeah.
Just kind of put it together? And
taught himself how to sew and started modifying some packs and built the first one.
So he's a handyman himself.
Very much. Oh yeah. Likes to tinker. Yeah. Build anything very technical and mechanical.
Is he coming to the office pretty much every day?
He's designed every one of our products, yeah. Yeah, he's our lead designer. Our design team's expanding and we have more people, but he's still the head designer. He still sews and prototypes every product we make, first sample, and can build, from apparel to packs to everything. Yeah.
Wow. Does he still seem to genuinely dig it? Like, is he still pretty into it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he loves to hunt. He loves to build stuff. So yeah, he likes, as long as you can keep him out of the business stuff. He's pretty happy.
Yeah. He doesn't want to be involved. No. Kurt doesn't want to be involved in the business.
I mean, he is, and he's very good at it, and he's smart, and he will obviously do whatever the business needs. But he'd prefer to just design cool stuff, which is why our partnership worked well.
Yeah.
Because I'm not a designer, but my expertise and experience was in the sales, marketing, business side. So I think you hear about a lot of failed partnerships in business. Mm-hmm. I feel very fortunate. Him and I have always worked well together, and I think it's because we kind of know our own roles and stay in our own lanes.
So you knew him from working with Sitka, I guess, right? He was a brand ambassador, an athlete, Sitka athlete.
Yep.
Like, at what point did you guys decide together, or was he trying to produce packs and go to market with them?
Yeah, no, he started. That's a good question. It's an interesting story. So he started Stone Glacier on his own, and his pack design that we were just touching on. He was working, by now he wasn't working in high school anymore. He was working at BP Oil, and he designed this pack, and he didn't have intentions of starting a company. So he took this pack design, and Sitka was one of the companies, but to a handful of different companies, and pretty much just offered to give it to him and said, hey, here's this concept I made. You guys should build it. It'll work. People will buy it. It's cool. And it was really out of selfishly to him. I just want to buy one that's professionally produced, and everybody kind of gave him the same spiel, which is understandable. Hey, we already are kind of down our path. We have our own designs, our own processes. So he found a factory that we still work with today that would do a small production run for him. And I think the first run was only 60 packs, and they built 60 packs. And he sold them to friends and family. And when they were all gone, he rolled that money from those sales into 100 packs and just kind of kept it going. In the meantime, his brand recognition, it was small, but people started to recognize, hey, this is a really good pack, really good product. It's unique. It's different than anything that's out there. And he built a pretty good brand reputation on the product. Subsequently, Sitka moved from California to Bozeman, where he lived. He was commuting back and forth from the North Slope to Bozeman, 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. And we became friends and just in town and the industry. And I started to kind of get recognized, like, what he's created with Stone Glacier's got a lot of opportunity here. Like, you could do a lot more. So I just started picking his brain and asking him, what's your plan? What are you going to do with Stone Glacier? What do you want? And he would genuinely say, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't
just
really
likes
know.
to tinker, just likes to build things.
I don't know, just building packs. But then he had like 2 or 3 different style packs. I think your 7400 that we were talking about earlier today was one of the first styles.
I was going to ask, how much do the frames and bags resemble today, kind of that first stage of the pack?
Is pretty similar, honestly.
Pretty similar?
They've improved quite a bit with small improvements, but no major overhauls. I mean, it's the same functional foundation, improvements in the stays and, just how product innovation happens. You find little flaws or improvements and you kind of roll them in, but it's pretty similar.
As far as design-wise goes, X-frame.
Yeah, but we have a lot more styles now. I mean,
Gotcha.
forever it was 3 styles of packs. We had the Solo,
Yep.
the 7400, and the Archer, I think, were the three packs. Or we had one called the 5100, which was the 7400, just smaller.
Gotcha.
So we then, I just told him at some point in time, if you're interested in selling this business, partnering together, growing it, doing something else, let me know. And he eventually reached out and said, I don't know what to do with this now. You want to talk? That's kind of how it happened. Yeah, it was good.
Did you have an eye for it? Like, when you saw that pack, what was it about? Was it Kurt? Was it the pack? Was it using the pack? Like, what was it about that combination that for you were like, yeah, I think there's something here?
I think it was a little bit of everything. The first time I used a Stone Glacier pack was on a mule deer hunt in eastern Montana, and a buddy of mine, one of Kurt's friends, had one of the first ones, and we just swapped packs for one of the pack outs, and it was like, wow, this thing is really comfortable under heavy load. It's pretty nice. So that was part of it, but I think a lot of it was for me. I'm kind of a brand and marketing guy, and I just felt like there was an opportunity for the brand. Like, it was strong. And my experience was from startup phase at Sitka to at that point a pretty successful, well-known brand, and I believed that model could be replicated, and I saw how powerful that was and how it worked, and I just felt like that he had created something that could do that again.
Gotcha.
Which isn't easy to do. You got to have all the right pieces of the puzzle, but to me it seemed like a no-brainer. Like, it was one that, I kind of have an entrepreneurial mindset. I like looking at business ideas and like, this would work or this or that or whatever. And that one just seemed like a no-brainer to me. Like, hey, this could be successful.
Huh.
I think it was because of all the things you mentioned. You got to have product quality. You got to have all those pieces. But
yeah. I think it's interesting. It's funny. I mean, as I'm sitting here talking and hearing you listen, same here at goHUNT. It's interesting how the different personalities mesh together to create something that, on your own you could never really, potentially do. Like, I couldn't, I have things that I do and things that I definitely can't do, and you have to have the parts and pieces. And it's interesting to hear you talk about how you and Kurt kind of work together. You got one guy that's the design and kind of the eye for the product, and then another guy that's a brand guy and marketing, and you mesh the two together and you can generate this momentum and movement to really make something special.
Yeah, well,
so
the people cool. are everything, as you guys know. I mean, and it's not just Kurt and I. We're really lucky. We got a lot of other really talented people. But, you can have the best product concept there is. The people behind it are really what I think create the culture and the brand and really drive it to success.
No
you got to
question.
have that.
That's the execution side of it.
Yeah.
You can have all the good ideas in the world. The people are what help you execute on it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would think I think a lot of people, like when I talk to people about products or brands within our industry, I think your name comes up a lot as you guys have a great brand.
Yeah,
it's clean.
It's a clean brand. How do you talk internally about brand a lot? Is that within your head and you kind of put that out there and you're like, we're going to do this or that? Or how do you manufacture a brand? This is probably more business talk, but I'm curious about branding and, operating a company within our space. How do you create brand and culture?
Yeah, we talk about a lot. And first of all, I'm glad to hear that. I take that as a big compliment because that's really important to us. The brand is, I guess I'll say, the brand is everything, obviously, with the caveat that there's a lot more to it, but that is so critical. And it underlies and is the common thread in everything we do. We look at products, new product launches, we look at marketing stories, we look at supporting different conservation groups or philanthropy, look at our sales, our partners, a partnership relationship like with goHUNT. And it always comes back to, even if it's not discussed, there's kind of all this underlying thought of fundamentally, how does this impact the brand and what does this mean? Does it fit our brand values? Is it who we are? Is it being true to what, how we relate to our customer and who our customer is? So it's pretty paramount. It's interesting. I would agree with you. And I think that I would say I agree that we have a clean brand, but I don't even really know what that means. Interesting enough. Like, how do you define that?
I think it's a lot of good imagery though. Like when I see you guys' stuff, like your catalog or even on social media, like, if I see an image, I'm like, that's a Stone Glacier image. I can definitely tell right away.
Authenticity is something we always talk about, and especially in our space, not so much anymore, but I think when I first started working in this space, the hunting industry, authenticity was lacking maybe. Like you'd see a lot of staged content. You'd see ads from bow companies that like...
Yeah, they're doing it in the summer.
It's not off season. I mean, you could just tell it wasn't authentic. And that was honestly something that I think propelled Sitka to a lot of success. Is that was really critical, and that was from the original founders, Jonathan and Jason, about having real authentic content, and that's something that we've carried with us, and it has always been important. And you guys do that really well too.
I appreciate that. Yeah, clean brand to me is executing on the small, fine details. Like that's when a brand gets messy, is when they don't pay attention to like those fine little details.
Yeah,
and then it starts to the feel for the brand gets wider than what is capable to be felt through media or marketing or imagery or any of that stuff, right? When you keep it like honed in and a honed in feel, that's what makes a clean brand to me. So those little small details.
Yeah, I think that's a good definition. Yeah, I'd agree. And I think the challenge that happens with scale, and I think both of our businesses are at this point, and it's good. I think it's important to have the original leadership that understands that. But as you grow, those fine details are really come down to knowing your consumer and knowing your market, and how do you scale your team and grow and still maintain, the people that can identify that and that know that. Because I think a lot of businesses get so big that they have somebody now running PR or marketing or doing something that aren't in tune with the fine details, right? And they quickly get lost. Yeah, I think that's a challenge that we should be aware of.
I compare business life to just an individual human life, right? It's like a human grows and gets better, but they still keep their same characteristics and strengths if you're living the right way. A brand's the same way. It grows, but you can get spun out and lose sight of, who you are and what the brand is a character, right? Like a lot of people, when you build a brand and start a brand and it's growing, the brand is a character of itself, right? Yeah. The brand it means something. It stands for something in the public. It has a personality. And when it gets too big and spun out, then the personality becomes egotistical and lost, and right, and you see it happen to brands all the time.
Yep.
And it's just like a human, right? If you're wildly successful as a human, you can get spun out and egotistical and lose sight of the finer things in life and the smaller things in life and those types of things. Business no different, right? When it's growing, that's the way I see it, at least.
Yeah, that's an interesting analogy, and I completely agree. Yeah,
and it's hard.
Yeah,
like
culturally, it becomes hard. Yeah.
Like you start getting successful. You guys have had a ton of success and grown, and you guys make unbelievable product. It's hard to not get a little overconfident or take things for granted, and people do it all the time just in their day-to-day lives as well when they have a little bit of success.
Yeah, I think it's important to just always know who you are too, and it's easy to like chase the shiny object, if you will, right? Like there's a revenue opportunity there, or we're going to go do that or this, and but to be able to continuously go back to the sounding board and really ask yourself, is that who we are? Should we do that, or is our energy better focused somewhere else? Because there's opportunity cost to everything.
Yeah.
And then you can just spread yourself too thin, and then you lose your identity, right? Like who are you to your core customer? You're trying to be this to this guy, and this to this guy, and this to this guy.
Yeah.
And you're not really relating with any one of those core demographics.
Is he taking a personal shot at me right now?
I don't think so.
No, not you.
I was just wondering if
honestly, I'll be the first to admit and take the full fault of it. But we're kind of, I'm confident we're still very clean and everything, but it's like, man, it's tough. You start shiny lures are in the water and you're like, man, we could do that.
Yeah.
We can do that too. We can do that too. And then all of a sudden you lift your head up and you're like, okay, we are spun out.
Oh, well, I
like
think you guys do a good job with it. I mean, you're, from my perspective, right? And I don't know the internal workings of your business model. This is just really what I see, but you guys got your hands in a lot of different things with Insider maps in the store, but they're all focused on
core
one core, the Western hunter, and you're not chasing a bunch of different things. And I think that's really what's important is can you still provide value to your customer?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
right?
we haven't gotten out of control by any means, but it is like we got to take a deep breath and be like, okay, we have plenty. Let's stay focused, right?
Yeah.
These other shiny lures can.
Well, it's easy to want to go chase those things, right? Especially
really
if you know that there are opportunities that can be successful.
And when you know it fits your core values, and you know you can support the customer, and you know the customer would appreciate it and want it, and we know we can support it in the right ways, and it's like, all right, well, we're good right now though. Like let's stay a little focused here. I mean, that's
timing is a lot of it
tough.
too, right? I mean, it's an internal discussion always of when's the right time to do X, Y, Z, right? Like that's an opportunity we see, but should we go after it now with everything else we have going, or can we table it and capitalize on it? And
you're speaking speaking to our headache right now.
Yeah,
and that's right where we're at.
Yeah, I was just wondering if this conversation's going anything like you thought it would.
I didn't know what you guys wanted to talk about.
No, it's right when you said that. I'm like, holy shit! That's right where we are.
No, I got that because I did want to commend you on the brand, because I think Stone Glacier as a brand has done a phenomenal job. And I mean, I read a headline, I don't know where I read it, but it said I think this was from last year, the second straight year Stone Glacier's made Inc. magazine's prestigious list of the fastest growing private companies in the country. And I think it's a unique thing that somebody within our space, it's a relatively small industry, if you will, and a smaller company, somewhat of a startup, that you guys have grown the way that you have. And I was curious to explore brand, because I think you've done I think people buy, I think you make a nice product. I think you make a great pack. I think your apparel lineup, you expanded it, exponentially. You've got all kinds of stuff. And I think you do make a quality product, but the fact that you've grown at the rate you have tells me that there's something more there than just the product.
Yeah.
Well,
and I think, I appreciate that. And I'm really glad to hear that. And I think that is the critical thing to successful growth businesses, right? And you guys have done the same. Like, the people want to be a part of it. You're adding in our marketing guy, Lyle, who's very talented. We talk about this a lot, but besides the product that you provide, what other value are you giving to your customers, right? Your core brand followers, right? What's the other value? And it's not necessarily a tangible thing, right? It's like, what is that relationship that person has with the brand? How do they identify with it? Like, there's got to be more than just a transactional, like, you make a nice pack, here's $500, I'll take the pack, it's great. If you want, you don't have to, like, there's plenty of businesses that are successful not doing that. But if you want to have that kind of loyal following that you're talking about, and then I think propels you to a different size of growth, like, what else is it? And I think a lot of that then goes to the things we're talking about the authenticity and the values and wanting to be associated with something. Like, you want people to wear your logo on the hat. I mean, that's one of the most complimentary things I see is when I'm walking through the airport and there's some random person wearing a Stone Glacier hat. It's like, that's freaking cool, man. That guy could be wearing any other hat, but he feels connected enough with something about the brand that he wants to wear that every day. So that's something we discuss a lot, is what is that and how do we continue to leverage that? How do we touch people in that way where they're like, it's more than the product. Like, I want to be associated with it. I'm no business expert, so I can't pinpoint what it is.
Sounds like you are.
But we've been fortunate that we've been true. I couldn't write a book and explain how to do it and replicate it, and I don't know. But you guys do it well too. I see goHUNT stuff all over.
Yeah, I was going to say, I remember Brady and I last year, we went to Kansas. We flew into Kansas City. We went and did a goose hunt. And do you remember there was a guy in a goHUNT hat in Kansas City Airport?
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember that now, yeah.
And I remember thinking, like, holy shit.
We're in the middle of the Midwest.
Yeah.
And the guy's wearing our hat.
It's
super cool.
Every once in a while, I'll see somebody, like, at a sporting event in a crowd.
I've noticed it too.
I'll give you one of our little secret playing cards that's worked really well for us, and you guys are welcome to steal it if you want. But we give all of our employees $25 gift cards, and if they see somebody randomly wearing a Stone Glacier something, we encourage them to go up to that person and say, Thanks for
a great idea.
repping the brand. Here's 25. Next hat's on us. Here's $25.
That's
Cool.
cool.
That's a golden egg idea. Right
People
there.
love it, man. They're so stoked and they're like, who are you? And I'm like, oh, I work for Stone Glacier. And just, that's sweet that you're wearing that. They're like, oh, they're stoked.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
They're loyal to that
great
brand.
idea.
After that, even more now.
Even more, yeah. That's a good one.
Yeah, that is cool.
Yeah.
Well,
But
cool.
on that point, I tried to snap a picture the other day. It was in Bozeman, driving to work. I didn't get it in time. I was going to text it to Porter. But a guy in front of me had a GoHUNT sticker and a Stone Glacier sticker on his back glass of his truck. And I was like, that guy knows what's up.
Yeah, that guy gets it.
It was
both worlds.
Guarantee that guy kills a lot of animals.
Yeah. True story. He's driving around Bozeman somewhere.
There we go. I like those guys.
I was gonna jump over to PAX. Brady, did you want to
Yeah,
talk
I want to talk about
PAX?
PAX. Yeah.
So I was
I'll
gonna
let you
ask-
lead it, and I'm going to jump in with my PAX
Okay,
question.
I was gonna ask you. I know that was your X frame your first pack that you came with, or was the
Crux frame.
Crux frame. Yep. And then you came with the X curve.
Yep.
So currently, like, what frames do you have in your lineup, and can you give just people an idea on what frame they might choose, when, and why?
Yeah, and that's a good question and a more complicated question to answer than you would think. The simple answer is there's not really a wrong answer, which is a good thing. But we offer 3 frames now: the Crux frame, the X curve frame, and then the R3 frame. The R3 frame is essentially a Crux frame. It's the same foundational setup, but it has some different attachment points for military applications. So we do a small military business, and that's really focused on that. So for hunting applications, we're really talking about the Crux frame and the X curve frame. They both have the same load carrying capacity. They both have an integrated load shelf. They're both can be used with any of our bags interchangeably. The main difference comes down to the shape of the frame sheet.
Yeah.
So as the name would imply, the X curve frame has a curved shape that kind of matches the natural curvature anatomically of a human's back. And then the Crux frame is more like traditional backpack frames. It's just straight. And really what that is about is distributing weight on your hips more effectively based on how your body is shaped. With that said, both of them are very comfortable under heavy loads, and it's pretty minute detail about your body shape and size that would swing you one way or the other. And we would say this one may be more comfortable on you than this one, but neither of them are going to be discomfortable or uncomfortable, if you will.
It's always been hard for me to tell which one actually, I can wear both of them just great.
Right.
Brady,
and most
Brady
people
likes
can.
the flat one, the one that's just
Yeah,
straight
but
up
do
and
you
down
when you
from
go
the
back
back.
and forth with you put 30 or 40 pounds one and you try one on another
got
one? Do you have a
no
preference?
ass.
I think it's always X curve. I think I was leaning more towards
Do you
that.
have a preference?
So for me, like, I don't have very good posture. And so my 101 brain would tell me that the X curve would be better for me then.
Yeah.
Because I'm a hunched over.
Yeah.
That's my natural.
Yeah.
Where Brady is straight up. Like,
I like always having good posture. I try to have good posture everywhere, but
you have very good posture.
what's the easiest way to tell, like, which one to go with?
Well,
for
this
customer?
has been an interesting learning for us too. So the Crux frame started. It was Kurt's original design. To your point of the first frame, It was straight stays, and we made the X curve frame because we're finding on certain people that under heavy loads that lumbar pad feels like it's slipping down. We've all experienced this, I think, with different packs of you're constantly trying to cinch it up and get it to seat on your hips well. The X curve frame comes in and that lumbar pad is now angled more towards your lumbar, so it's going to sit on there better. What was interesting to us, right, that was just intuitive. Okay, let's make a curved frame. Other people have done it, and that makes sense. And we thought, okay, if you have a curved back, you're going to want an X curve frame. If you have a straight back, you're going to want a straight frame. So we do silly things and tests internally with our guys who measure people standing up against the wall and see how much of a gap you have between your back.
You didn't have them lay down on the floor and roll a barbell over them? Is that what they do now? You guys know.
I know.
Guys, you guys act like you don't know, but you know.
Oh, I know.
But so we've been asking ourselves the same question for a long time because this is something that is not easy to communicate to customers, right? We're primarily a direct-to-consumer business. If you could fit somebody in a pack, like trade shows are great for us, right? If you ever have the opportunity to come to a trade show and come by our booth, like we will put 60 pounds in both the frames and put them on you, and you could just tell us that one feels more comfortable to me. Now, that's the best thing you can do, but when you're shopping online, that's obviously not that easy. So we've spent a lot of time trying to figure out how do we communicate this to customers and videos and online and what's the test or how do you try. So we recently, over the last year, started talking to a friend here in Bozeman that's a chiropractor, and he's a sports medicine doctor, and trying to learn about like the shape of the back and just trying to get his perspective, like somebody a little bit more educated and professional than us on like
just slightly more educated.
Yeah, how do we just slightly how do we communicate to customers, like what's the easiest way to distill this down to something that's easy for somebody to understand. And what we learned from it was almost the exact opposite of what we had thought. And is if you have a straight back, the curved frame is probably going to sit on your hips better. And if you have a straight back or a curved back, the straight frame is going to sit on it because of how the shape comes and how that lumbar falls. So, so if you have a curved back, right, you're going to end up, that lumbar is not going to be pushing in as much and sitting on your frame. So it's counterintuitive to what we expected. And we went through and kind of just did a unscientific test with all of our employees, determine who's got a curved back, who's got a straight back. The chiropractor kind of helped us determine the easiest way to tell that, and had everybody try them on and did the data. And sure enough, it was correct. So I'm not sure if that matches what you guys find.
Well,
you did say that you have like an X curve.
I have an X curve,
and I assume you have a straight
it.
back. You're
I
a
have
taller
a straight back.
guy.
I love that back. Yeah, so it would make sense.
But yeah, I don't know. So I didn't really answer your question.
Well, what I was going to ask is, do you have a data set that you would be able to tell somebody like, hey, if you stand against a wall on this, you have a curved back?
Yeah,
like
that was kind of that's the intent of the output of this whole project. We haven't finalized it and come out with it yet, but that is the idea of like, let's try to work with
a better fit guy.
Better fit guy chiropractor and come up with a way where guys can do that without having to physically try both on. But then, of course, there's some outliers, right? Where there's
other differences between the two frames, right? The one is a little heavier.
One's lighter,
One's lighter.
One's a little heavier,
The other one's a little beefed up in the hip belt, right?
Yep.
The crux.
Yeah,
the X curve.
The X curve, they have the same hip belt, but the stays are just, and that's where the weight comes in. The stays are solid carbon, where the crux, they're hollow carbon.
Tube.
It's a little bit beefier. It's a complicated one, and lots of other backpack companies have their different ways of trying to do it. Most backpack companies have multiple frames for different fits and different ways of measuring torso length and seeing what fits there. I think some people even played around. I think Osprey for a long time had the style back where you can mold it to your back, almost like a ski boot.
Yeah.
So there's been lots of people trying to figure that out, and I'm not sure anybody's really hit the bullseye on it yet. So it's something that we're trying to do. But what I always communicate to customers is, one, we got a great return policy, as you guys do. If you try one on, it's not used, right? You can send it back, try the other one on. And we want our customers to have the one that's going to be the most comfortable. So we'll work with people on that. But you can't. They're both going to be comfortable. Like, to your point,
I can honestly wear
both.
the
same way. I can wear both, and I think I have a preference of like, if I had to choose, I'd use that one. But neither of them are uncomfortable, and they both carry weight well.
Which one's your preference?
I like an X curve.
I like an X curve.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my go-to.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just seems to fit better, and it's the curve in it that I like.
Yeah.
There's just something about it, just as comfortable.
Yeah. But I think I think probably 70% of our employees like a crux.
Really?
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah.
Weirdos.
So
straight weirdos.
You need to evaluate their employment when you get back.
A lot of guys are just after the lightest setup too.
Sure.
Which is a valid point. Like, if you're that customer that wants the lightest setup, then I wouldn't even worry about trying both on, because I'm confident the crux is going to be comfortable on you, and you should just go with that. It's not that much lighter, but it's going to save you a couple ounces, right?
So just a few ounces then? Difference
a few ounces, yeah.
One question I wanted to ask you as you were talking was, you said load capacity? 150 pounds, is that what you said?
Yeah, that's what we rate them to.
What is that? How do you test that? Do you?
We put again, unscientific, put a bunch of weights in them and test them until they break. And honestly, is that on
the frame or the stitching?
On the frame, yeah. Well, it's whatever would fail first.
Gotcha.
But we've had over 300 pounds in them without having any failure points when it's strapped, how it would be strapped to your back. But really, what we design packs for is to carry 80 to 100 comfortably. I think we all know, if once you get over 80 pounds, honestly, especially over 100, it's just going to be
nothing matters.
Yeah, it doesn't really. Yeah, it doesn't really matter. It's just going to be miserable, and you want to get to the truck. Yeah. But if we can engineer a pack to distribute 80 pounds on your hips comfortably and proportionately, that's kind of where we find the sweet spot is, and what we're trying to achieve for the customer. And I think we've all also had packs that aren't designed for that, and you put a elk quarter in, and it's very obvious that they suck and they're uncomfortable. So, but innovation's come a long ways, and there's a lot of pack companies now making really quality packs that distribute the weight well and can carry heavy loads comfortably for long distances, which for a long time that wasn't really the case.
Yeah. I always love it when somebody either makes the comment or asks the question, what pack can I carry comfortably 100 pounds in? And I'm like,
man,
I've never had 100 pounds on my back in a backpack and carried it for any distance where I just thought that thing was super comfortable.
Man, that did so well.
Man, I feel light as a feather. And
it is funny that 80 pounds is kind of like that's the break where it's just like everything above that you don't even notice. It just sucks.
I mean, they do carry differently. I mean, and I will say one of the biggest reasons I've been a proponent of Stone Glacier packs and I've used them for so long is I think I'm still using the same one that I bought at the Western Hunt Expo in 2017.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so I still have that pack, but it's just kind of the position of the load shelf, the distance that it kind of sits up off the base of the hip belt. It just gives me the ability to secure a quarter or bag of meat like higher up on a back. And it just frees my hips up because that's where it tends to hurt the worst for me is like when I get a lot of weight on my hips. Yeah. If that sits at the base of the pack and it just kind of pulls at the front part of my hips and it just wears me out over miles. Whereas you guys' pack, I'm able to like secure that load higher up my back.
And that's honestly half the battle is just the leverage that's created by where you place the weight. And we've done some, again, unscientific tests on that. We have a blog post, I think, that maybe we just did recently. That's pretty interesting, just showing how that works. But simply, one, having a pack that is capable of keeping the heaviest load, which when you kill something is the meat, close to your back and in the right spot, is really critical to your comfort, right? And it's just the leverage you're going to feel pulling off of you and how it's going to sit on your hips.
I also like it too because it opens the door to use that to carry your gear in. Like you can use that area, not throw it in your main bag, have a smaller main bag, and throw a bunch of your food right there and carry it in that way. And then you're going to eat that food. Then on the way out, that's where the meat's going to go. Yeah,
and that's why I think a lot of and Mission Ranch has been very successful in the military with their load shelf packs, and we're seeing some of the same. Is they in the military application, they're putting all sorts of equipment in the load shelf, right? Mortar tubes, breaching charges, all sorts of different things that are heavy. So you want them close to your back, and then also would take up lots of capacity in your bag. You want to be able to carry. So the load shelf is I'd say it's a pretty game-changing innovation in the pack world in general over the last 10 years.
It allows me to carry out everything.
Right.
Like I can carry out boned out meat, hide, throw a rack on top, all my camping gear.
And the funny thing is you still don't even really see it much, which I guess it's just because the application isn't as great as hunting, but you don't really see it much in the outdoor space. But guys you can pack your tent, your food, your everything in there. I mean, guys are packing pack rafts in the load shelf for pack rafting trips.
Do you get a lot of people that are non-hunters, like stopping in and looking at the backpacks, or is it mainly the hunting crowd?
Not a ton, but we don't really market much our brand to non-hunters. But the people that do crossover and they see it, they're like, this is way better than any backpack in the outdoor space.
A pack raft especially. Like those guys would crush it.
Yeah, I mean, through hikers, there's a big opportunity where for whatever reason, just the pack quality in the outdoor space is behind the hunting space. And I think in general with gear innovation, forever outdoor space was ahead of hunting. But recently, I think all the hunting companies are innovating at a higher level, making better products in the outdoor space.
Yeah, the last 10 years, I would agree. Yeah. For sure, I would agree.
And it's because of the end use, right?
Necessity.
You're just doing more extreme things on a hunting trip than a backpacking trip, right? Backpacking trip, you stay on the trail. Yeah. You're going to point A and B. Hunting,
you're on your own schedule, your own time.
Hunting, you never know what's going to happen. Yeah. So I think that innovation has kind of surpassed it. And hopefully, I think it'd be great if the consumer starts to recognize that. And I think they are. There's a lot of people starting to come to hunting brands to look for different products, but not at a significant level yet.
I was reading, I think I've run into you before at summer OR shows, so the summer outdoor retailer shows, right? Which is kind of the hippie get together for outdoor rec crowds, and you get to look at materials. But I was reading the summer OR show just was going on last week, I think. Maybe
it was last
weekend in Salt Lake. So I was reading through just press release, going through like new products, and one of the new product releases, and I can't even remember, but I was shocked when it said backpacking and, hunting. And it actually said hunting and it called it out. And I remember reading that and thinking, that wouldn't have happened 10 years ago when I first started going to that show.
Do you remember who it was? Or what
I can't remember. I'll go back and find it because I have it in my email somewhere. But I remember reading the paragraph and thinking, I don't think I would have seen that 10 years ago when I was at that show, or from a press release from that crowd.
Yeah, absolutely not. No, I think that's a cool thing. I hope that trend continues. Mm-hmm. I think a big driver of that is over that same period, the kind of the interest from non-hunting crowds of organic, sustainably harvest food, if you will, right?
Yeah.
And there's definitely been an interest. I wonder if you guys see it with your customer bases of not your traditional hunters wanting to get into hunting. I
think it's a mixture of a lot of clean brands. Like there is a lot of brands that have come out, right? Sitka was a good start of it. That 10-year, what was that, 13 years ago? 2010, right? And it's like the imagery has been cleaned up. The vibe has been cleaned up. The sustainable conservation message is way more pushed than like the trophy hunting badass who's killed, all this big stuff. It's really been, I think it's been cleaned up a lot just from, brands like you guys and us and Sitka and a handful of others. And it's really cleaned it up to now I feel like it's more acceptable than it's ever been. I mean, it's pretty, that's a non-scientific stab at it, but honestly, I really do. Like when I talk to people now, I feel like it's more accepted.
If you want to gauge for it, go to a summer OR show. Yeah. I mean, and you can compare it. I mean, I remember, I can't remember the first year I went to that, but it's been a good number of years ago. And I remember, I ran into Jason Harrison, from KUIU, when he was, in between, and he was at that show. But I remember walking into booths, and I can't remember. I think I worked for Hunt and Fool at the time, and I think my badge said Hunt and Fool. And I remember people looking at it and being like, "What? What do you do?" And I'd be like, "Oh, I work for this hunting company. I'm just looking for new gear and interesting stuff." And they kind of
point at the door.
Didn't really want a whole lot to do with me. But going back as of maybe a couple of years ago. The last one I think I went to was in Denver, but you'd walk into a booth and my goHUNT badge and who do you work for and what do you do? Oh, I work for this hunting company. Oh, and most people would be like, oh, I've never been hunting, but I really would like to go. I would like to try it. I remember I took an Uber to the airport, and there was I took a share with a girl, and she worked for some company that was definitely not, you would not think hunting friendly, but in, a 45-minute conversation, all she had is questions about hunting. Yeah. Why do you do it? Where do you go? How do you do it? And just wanted to understand the whole thing. And like that conversation, like she wouldn't have even, I don't think, been open to it, 7 or 8 years ago. So it's definitely felt like awesome. A flip to me.
Well, that's what we need to preserve. I mean, obviously there's always going to be the anti-hunting demographic and people that just aren't going to be open-minded to it, but the more of that we could foster and have collaboration on both sides, and that's gonna be important for the future hunting, honestly.
Well, if you just look back like pre-2010, like I remember Under Armour when they were kind of the first big whatever. Remember their magazine ads? It was always lethal. It was a black page, always lethal in white, and then blood splatter across it. I mean, that's what it was. That's what hunting was. The super deep voices.
I'm thinking of all the broadhead. All the broadhead.
Dark nappies. Let the air out of them, and all this this crazy.
You're right. I think the hunting industry.
Back, you're like,
we've gone soft.
It's like.
Well, I think we've at a certain point that internally in the hunting industry we realized that maybe that marketing might work to your customer at a certain level or extent, but it's not the longer term view and the broader view. It's not good look for our business and our industry. And there's a better way to tell that story and still effectively sell your customers where you can.
Part of our responsibility is to message what we do the right way, right? Authentically, out of love and out of conservation, out of protection, all this stuff. It's like over the last, since 2010, I think it's changed. The market has done a really good job of telling the story through sustainability and conservation and, eat what you kill kind of stuff.
I think the onset, I mean, you guys are a leader in the media world too, right? And Meat Eater does a good job, and I think we do a good job, but everybody's done better in their content creation and their media and their films
education
too.
Within their content.
And like being, having the right lens on what you do show and you don't show and how you show it and how you talk about it and making sure that, you're having the right level of respect for the environment and the animal and all that. It goes a long ways. And it's on all of us that work in the industry that we kind of have onus to do that. And there has been a big shift. You're absolutely right.
I think it's on all hunters in general, honestly. Right? I mean, you can either be an asshole and tell people you kill shit, or you can think about the future and be like, man, I want my kids to be able to hunt like I do. And yes, I do kill shit, and I'm super happy to do it. But that's not what I'm necessarily going to say to this person, you know? Like, you know,
it's not how I'm going to message that.
Just, you know, message it a certain way. I want my kid to be able to do it. So, you know.
Yeah. I think I wrote an article for goHUNT, and I may have stole this from somebody else, but I think in the article I said essentially that our ability and our kids' ability to go hunting in the future, those decisions will be made largely by people who never hunt.
Yeah.
And it's those people, you know, in the middle, and they'll probably never hunt, but they can lean one way or the other and vote. You know, they could be in favor of it, say, I may not hunt, but I see the value in it and the tradition and, you know, for what it is, the value, and vote that way, or they can be, you know, anti. So I don't know. I don't think about it nearly enough, but it's probably something we all should think about more often.
I just try to keep it top of mind, like know your audience kind of a thing,
right,
you know? Yeah. When I'm with my buddies, I kill shit and I love it. And that's what I'll say. But you know, walk and do somewhere else. Yeah, so I go hunting. I do this thing.
That's an important point. It absolutely is.
You guys got into apparel, right, from PAX? Was that kind of the next step for you guys?
Yeah, I think technically our first product we launched after PAX was tents.
Oh, gotcha.
Then apparel, which apparel has been really important for us. And I mean, we were probably working on apparel for the longest time.
I wanted to know, were you the guy behind the no camo?
I am, yeah.
Are you? Why no camo?
I just always.
You hate camo?
I don't hate camo, and I don't judge anybody that wears camo. But I just always, in my years of experience working in the industry, I just always saw a growing trend, especially amongst, like, I don't know what the right word is. I don't want to use the word elite, but more experienced hunters, more passionate, experienced hunters, of just not necessarily relying on camo as much. Maybe they'd still use it here and there, but it wasn't critical. It wasn't a critical piece to their success, and that trend I just saw growing, and an opportunity for somebody to kind of just own that piece of the puzzles, right? So, I mean, even before I was involved in Stone Glacier and Kurt and I were just talking, that was always a strategy in my mind. It's like, hey, this brand could be the brand that when we start making gear and clothing, it's just all solids. I think that, and we would resonate with the customer. And that wasn't a stretch for Kurt because he was already making packs, never used camo. Yeah. They were just gray packs. But yeah, I think, you know, you look at a lot of guides and outfitters who live on the mountain, right? Not a ton of them wear camo, just not, you know, probably for various reasons. There's also this growing trend, which maybe is unique to Montana, probably definitely unique to Western states, of people just don't want to be identified as hunters, not because of the reasons we're just talking about anti-hunting, but more so for where I'm hunting, right?
Yeah.
Like, so if somebody sees me at the trailhead, I don't.
Stay quiet.
I'm walking to my truck at the trailhead and I'm in full camo. People are like, "Oh, there must be elk in there," or "What are you doing?" You know, or you cross paths with somebody on the trail, and obviously you're gonna have a bow or a gun with you, but you just look a little bit more incognito. You go to the gas station in some little hodunk town, right?
It must be impossible for people in Bozeman to gauge who's
a hunter and who's not.
Well, I don't know. Do you guys get that? I mean, that's real, right?
No,
that's just a Montana thing.
I mean, you're speaking to why I started to transition into solids. You go to the gas station, you go to the restaurant, and it's just you don't want. Well, so where are you hunting? What'd you see? Because I also don't like to lie to people either. Like, it doesn't make me feel good to lie. I don't like to feel bad. I'm a feeler kind of a person.
And people don't know that's a weird question to ask. And I mean, if you're a hunter, you know, you don't ask that question. But otherwise, it's like, how much money do you make? How many cattle do you have? You know, type of a question.
The other thing too, though, like I always have like, oh, you have this great pair of pants you love, but it's in camo, and they're like, well, now I got to buy another pair because I want to be able to wear it in town. Where if you just have it all in solids to begin with, you can wear that. Hunting, you can go into town on a date and wear the same pants or a rain jacket.
And that was another important piece of the whole decision was we want to make gear that people, it's expensive stuff, right? You want to make gear you can use for everything. You can wear it skiing. You can ski in camo, obviously, but you feel comfortable wearing our gear for any outdoor activity that it's built for. It's a layering system for activity pursuits. You know, we focus on hunting, but it's equally applicable for backcountry skiing and, you know, backpacking, hiking around town. And
it's that when you spend that kind of money on gear, it is, you know, just mentally you're like, oh, I'd wear this way more than the 3 hunts I have this year.
Yeah,
you know, like, and it just, I don't know, it's more of a motivating factor when you go to buy it. That's that solid trend in my opinion.
Yeah, and we also always wanted, like, you see, you know, lots of us, I think all of us probably do it to a certain level, but you have your hunting gear and then you're going to work throwing on a Patagonia puffy or an Arc'teryx jacket or something. We also saw an opportunity for, hey, I think hunters would rather wear hunting brands.
Yeah, I don't want to support
100%.
Patagonia.
Yeah, right.
I don't want to
know.
do that.
Well, you wear that, but you're wearing that jacket to work that you wear every day more than you're wearing your hunting gear, right? So we want to, take that closet share space too of the customers' gear list.
It sounds like if Jeff sees 2 grip and grins and one guy's wearing completely solids, he automatically assumes that guy's the better hunter.
Because
That guy's better. I do have one comment, one thing though. I do feel like there is still a need. You guys I actually want just kind of a poll from you guys right now. But like, I do feel like there is a need for camo still, and it's archery hunting. Like I do, you know what I mean? Like I do think it is
the slight movement you might be.
Well, let me.
Do you agree?
No, I agree. I've worn camo tops and I've worn solid
archery hunting.
Yeah, archery hunting,
Yeah,
and it's and I don't know. I mean, here's the thing, because I think elk when they're rutting are dumb. I said it, Brady. I think
Brady's a big elk guy. Don't
that down.
Brady off. He's a huge elk
Write
guy.
that down. Trey says elk are dumb.
I think
That's why they're your favorite.
Which translates to easy to kill.
easier to kill when they're running.
Okay,
I think
that's why mule deer are superior.
When a bull comes
Mule
in
deer
and
win.
he's looking for cows and another bull bugling, I think you could be standing there in your birthday suit and be totally okay. They're love struck.
This is my favorite podcast ever chosen.
So I think it's probably less important, but I think for like a mule deer spot and stock, something like that, I think it might account. This is just, and again, I can't prove it per se, but I think it might give you that extra extra second when maybe your image is a little bit broken up.
A food for thought point, right? And I don't have anything to back this up. But first, I'll answer your question. I don't think there's anything wrong with using camo, and I think that absolutely can. I've killed plenty of things with a bow without camo, turkeys, everything, right? But here's my food for thought. Have you ever found yourself, and this is a theory I've just been trying on people, so this will be the first time in like a public forum, so maybe I'll look like an idiot. Have you ever found yourself when you're in camo, hunt a little more foolishly and make mistakes because you think that you have a certain level of protection or cover, if you will, camouflage, that when you're not wearing camo, you might be a little bit more careful and be a smarter, better hunter and a little more cognizant of your movement and your wind and your approach.
Basically saying not getting lazy in mental thought.
Yeah, I found myself leaning on it before, right? I worked for one of the biggest camo companies for 10 years almost, right?
Yeah.
I found myself leaning on it like,
I'll just sit right here in the open. I'm in camo.
Right. Or I'll try this or that. And when I'm not in camo, I'm like, I'm not going to do that. I would never do that. And maybe just be a little more analytical about your approach on your stuff.
I mean, I can't.
Something to think about.
There we go.
Yeah, I can't specifically say like I know for a fact I've gotten lazy. I'm sure I have, honestly. Just can get lackadaisical. Just
I don't know if it's because of the camo or not, but I definitely gotten lazy.
Sure. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
But I guess my
old.
point is, at some level, sometimes I feel like the camo might give you a false sense of security at a certain level. But maybe that's just me.
Yeah,
Something to think about.
Can't see me. I'm camo.
I don't know. I just very, very non-scientific, very just a one-time run at this. But I was hunting sheep with Clay Hill in Colorado this last year. And I mean, sheep are known for better eyesight than anything else. And when they're banded up early season, not in the rut, like they're tough, right? And it was an archery only hunt. And we were both wearing solids and we were getting our asses kicked. I mean, you could say it from being lazy. You could say it from being idiots, getting over aggressive. Sometimes they're banded up. I mean, why sometimes we got aggressive? I don't know. But we threw camo on and it could have been a mental thing. We had one of the guys we were with is like, listen, I'm all for solids, but like there's a place for camo, I think. And I think it's archery hunting. And I'm like, I have thought that. It was almost like I wanted to prove it wrong in my mind kind of a thing. Because I agree with elk. I've archery hunted elk in solids a million
you shot
times.
that bull.
With you.
You
You were head to toe solids, and that
elk in
bull
the
about
rut.
ran you over.
And it about ran me over.
He was in
And
love.
He was in love with you. Just sweet talking to him when he about ran me over.
I can't help it.
And and I'm like, yeah, God, I think you're right, And I like I told you in the meeting earlier, I was a huge proponent of solids only because I'm like, man, if you're a good enough hunter, you don't need camo kind of a thing, right? And it became a joke within the office. Cody Smith was working for us at the time, and it just became a thing, right? Like, oh, they think I'm a park ranger. They're just going to walk up to me anyways, right? I'm going to wear all green. And anyways, man, we threw on camo and we got a lot closer, a lot more.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it was.
Yeah, I couldn't look you guys in the eye. I mean, we're all experienced hunters here and tell you that one way or the other with any
It's
analytical
weird how
proof or
biasly,
data.
though, you
but
get these things in your head.
oh yeah, absolutely.
And I'm like, man.
we
now-
just had this conversation the other day about. I'm sure you guys have similar about archery equipment and bows, where I feel like I've just had bows that I kill shit with and ones that suck.
Oh, we've talked about
And
this.
it's like, and it's just.
I'm being pointed at. But for
Have you
good
had that
reason.
same conversation?
For good
I've
reason.
had bows that I've sold that I would go back and probably pay twice retail value for to get them back, just because they.
Lorenzo's
I
got
don't know,
a
they
bow.
just
He's-
worked.
Yeah, I mean,
I have a bow.
he's going on a stone sheep hunt in 32 days,
32 days.
which, I mean, stone sheep, you think about what the opportunity that is.
Oh,
The
yeah.
stone sheep hunt. And Lorenzo's going with a bow
Yeah, you
that
don't wanna
was
screw that up, huh?
produced in 2016, something like that, 2016.
Long time ago.
Yeah, Halon X, and he just absolutely loves it. But
I
yeah.
can't set it down. I
Yeah.
mean, Matthews is a great company. They're awesome. They're great to work with. We shoot a lot of their bows.
Yeah.
It's the bows we believe in, and we've shot as individuals for a long time. And so they'll send us some new bows, try it out, let me know what you think.
Yeah, you like
I
that one?
cannot
Yeah.
switch.
Yeah.
I have since 2016 to 2023. I've had their new bow every year since, and I can't do it.
I mean, is it like that's what we were joking about in our office? Is that superstition, or is there something to that?
It's-
Is there like?
I think
Is it
it's
just
both.
mental?
It's both.
It's both.
Yeah.
It's
one of
just in
those
your
biased-
head?
It's one of those. Yeah, you develop biases in your head, right? Everyone does,
Right.
And that's where you can lose yourself. The comment about business and being a person growing, and you can lose sight of things. You just
Yeah.
get biased. You get jaded by ththings. I've been very successful with it, so it's like it's
Yeah.
just biasly
Yep.
pushed me, and I don't know. It's
Yeah,
weird.
it's not funny how that works. I mean, I can think of a specific. This was a few years ago, but at the time, brand new bow. That the first time I shot an animal with it, I whiffed a freaking nice bull, and it
What
was
bow
for
was
no
it?
fault of the bow, but
It was
my
a Hoyt,
own.
right?
No, it was Matthew.
No, it was not. It was not a Matthews. Say any other bow but that.
But my bow is also a Matthews, and it's
Oh,
an
yeah,
old
yeah.
one. It's an old Chill R. I don't even know how old
Oh,
that is
yeah.
now. But that bow I've killed so much stuff with. How old was that?
How old
that
is
was a long
that?
time
That's
ago.
Chill
like
R?
wildly old.
Oh, that's like 12 years old probably. I don't know.
It's pretty old. The Chill R.
I still
the
have
Chill-
it. I
the
won't get
Chill
rid of that
X?
one because I've sold a couple other that I
Yeah.
felt
The R
a
is the
connection
short
with.
one.
but-
It's not the X, the longer one.
No, it's the R.
The R is a short
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah.
But then here's the crazy thing that too, we're talking about solids versus camo. Look at the trend in bows though. Most people now are hunting with a solid colored bow and not a camo bow.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
interesting. I didn't know
mine's
that.
Black bows, like you shot an elk the other day with a white limbed bow.
Yeah, my bow I've got right in there is black.
So
yeah,
really
black
you need
riser.
camo then. Like
Yeah.
that you're as close to an animal as you can be, and that bow is the first
Mine's-
thing that's sticking out in front of you, and it's not camo.
Yeah.
Mine's stone
The trend
gray
is going
with
the same way.
fluorescent orange strings.
Yeah.
I mean, I
But
don't
the
know.
resale,
That's a hot
and
looking setup.
The resale,
It
and it looks cool.
Yeah, that's interesting. Well, I mean, I guess it's a form of camo, but the other one that's always funny is people were, their whole setup of camo, thousands of dollars worth, right? And then they throw on whites, and
Yeah.
and the mountain goats come running right to you, and then you
Yeah.
whack one with your bow, and it's like, well, I guess I don't know, I didn't need that camo. I could have wore
Yeah.
anything and just putting the whites on. But that's, I guess, a form of camo. I mean, the goats are looking at you like you're a goat.
Another good one too is when you see people decked out, just GQ style, head to toe, accessories, everything, all camo matching, hat, everything, gloves, and then they'll just stand on the skyline and just. What are you
They're
doing?
invisible.
What are you doing, man? You hiked all the way up here. You're on the skyline. You got animals. What are you doing?
Yeah, I think it'll be an age-old debate. I
Yeah.
think camo is just fine. There's nothing wrong with it. I would never say you shouldn't use it or you can't use it.
Where I was going is you should make it an accessory camo. Then I could use it archery hunting because now I have this bias stuck in my head. I'm like, well, shit, that did work. That guy was right.
Multicam, maybe.
Multicam. I don't know.
Multicam.
Something just to.
But like
I don't know.
even though like spring bear hunting to me, I can't imagine ever hunting in camo pants ever again. Amount of ticks you can spot when you have solid colored pants.
That's a good
Otherwise,
point,
you're gonna have Lyme disease guaranteed if you
Well,
wear
I think
camo
that is a
pants.
trend that I've been seeing. Is I've seen a lot of people much
Valid
more
point.
acceptable, even if they want camo, to wear solid pants and then camo top.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that makes logically a lot of sense, right? Because when you're stalking an animal, you're arguably going to be on your knees or crawling. Like, are camo pants doing that much for you?
Yeah. I just hate being able to. You can't see those ticks crawling up you with camo
That
pants.
actually,
I've
honestly,
seen
is
that. That's
an
strange.
extremely valid point that I did not.
I've tried to
I've
talk
never
about it all the
thought about
time.
that.
Like solid pants, I can see, especially like tan color or like a light color. I can see those things, pick them off, send them back to hell with a
Brilliant
lighter.
thought.
Boom,
Yeah.
done. Move on.
I never thought about that.
What is your favorite apparel piece that you guys make?
I think right now my favorite one is the Circlite jacket. It's a new
Me too.
jacket we just came out with. It's a lightweight synthetic insulation. It can be definitely used as an outerwear piece for earlier season, more moderate temperatures. It's very breathable, so it's like an activewear piece. You can definitely layer it underneath.
You like the Cirque better than the Grumman Light?
I think I like the Cirque Light better than the Grumman Light. The Grumman Light's awesome too. Then you get into that down synthetic debate. The Grumman Light's probably warmer. The Cirque Light's probably more breathable.
The Cirque Light's got a better fit.
The Cirque Light is just
for me.
Yeah, it just seems more. And honestly, I use it more for everyday use than hunting applications. It's very comfortable for wearable, just everyday use. Throw it on, go to work. Throw it on, around town.
Where do you fall in terms of the synthetic down debate? Do you think there's a time and a place for each one, or do you tend to lean one way or the other?
I think there's a time and a place for each one. I prefer down for the most part. It's just more packable, lighter, insulates better.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of advantages to down. The treated down now is so good at repelling water that a lot of those cons of down traditionally of getting wet, not insulating, are mitigated to a certain extent. It's never going to be like synthetic, but for a lot of the experiences that where you're going to get your down wet, it's going to be fine with treated down.
Do you think treatment really works on down, or is that like a misnomer?
Oh, it works.
Like you legit believe that?
I believe it works. Yeah. I think it has life expectancy.
Gotcha.
Like anything, I think over time it'll lose some of its water repellency depending on how much you wash it.
How much are you washing it?
Down?
Yeah.
Not very often. I think, yeah.
I can't remember.
Once a year, maybe?
Yeah, I think it's good to wash it when you need to wash it. I mean, it's not gonna hurt it or ruin it, but I think just naturally you look at down feathers, right? And you understand just how often it works. You could see how that would break down with, I mean, washing machines are hard on everything, the agitators and washing machines. So I think don't wash it unless you have to. But
yeah. What do you have new in your lineup that you like? I know that you came out with the Solus tent.
The Solus tent's pretty awesome. Yeah, it's a pretty niche product.
4-season, one-person tent.
Yeah, one-person tent. And that was kind of Kurt's baby on wanting a tent that was a smaller footprint than our skyscraper. So a lot of the hunting he does is in the alpine and areas where you are sometimes pitching a tent, in shale cliffs and stuff where you just don't have a big footprint.
Pitching a tent.
Pitching a tent. So just having a small footprint where you could still have enough room for all your gear. So not big vestibules and stuff. So it's really catered towards a solo hunter that's going to be high in the alpine. But that tent's new. It's done really well. We came out with a new pant, the 206 pant. That's pretty nice. It's a lighter weight, kind of more early season style pant. Think antelope hunting or early season archery type hunting. That's done really well. And then the Cirque Light and the Grumman Light were also new this year. And our insulation pieces are really nice. Our Grumman jacket is one of the nicest down jackets out there, but it's warm and it's heavy. So there was this need for something that was, when it's not so extremely cold and you want something a little bit lighter weight and packable, you don't need something so designed for cold weather. Those two pieces are pretty good options.
Can I jump into packs?
Yeah, back. You can go back.
You can do whatever you want, Brady.
You can do whatever you want. It's your world, Brady. You're right there on the
You want to talk about mule deer hunting?
No, he likes elk. He's an elk guy. Don't let him fool you.
No.
Don't let him fool you.
Terminus.
Oh yeah.
I think that pack was designed for me.
Yeah,
honestly,
you like it?
It took me a while to think about it, how it could work for my system, but how light it is, and now with the 8700, the new one.
Yeah.
So I've used that this entire spring season. Packed on an aoudad, mountain lion.
Nice.
Packed out 2 bears.
And you're digging it.
Loving it.
I'm glad to hear that.
I can't wait to take it on a mule deer hunt.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that. That's another one of Kurt's brainchilds.
All you got to do now is get a mule deer tag.
Yeah.
I have 3 mule deer tags. I have way more mule deer tags than I have elk tags.
Why did you say you can't wait to pack out a mule deer? You can't wait to pack out an elk this year.
I do. Yeah, my elk tag is first. That does make a problem here. That does make it a problem.
Just forget about mule deer. Just leave that to me this year.
But yeah, that pack is sweet for the high alpine environments.
Yeah, and that's what it was designed for. It's not going to be for everybody. I mean, that's one of those packs that, like, we're in the business of selling stuff, but at trade shows, lots of times, like, we tell people you probably shouldn't buy that pack, depending on what you're doing.
Yeah.
If you're going on an elk hunt, right, that might not be the best pack for you. But if you're going on a high alpine mule deer hunt, a high alpine sheep hunt, goat hunt, that's really what that was designed for.
Pack weighs 4 pounds.
It's so light, and it carries
8,700 cubic inches.
Yeah.
It weighs 4 pounds.
Right. And that was a big design point for us. It's like, hey, we want to make a pack that size that's under 5 pounds. Nobody else is doing it in a load carrying style pack. I think it turned out really good, but counterintuitive to everything we just talked about in the beginning of this podcast, it doesn't have an external load shelf.
And yeah, right?
It has an internal load shelf. It's not modular, so it's very different than everything we've made, but it fits a niche hunting type of hunt really well. That high alpine sheep hunter, like a boned out sheep isn't very much meat, right?
Yeah.
So the internal load shelf that it has can fit it really well, and you can still fit all your gear. And it allows you to save that weight.
And that's why I think I can still use it on a late season hunt. Because that's my first thought, because I love going late season backpacking for mule deer.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have a lot of clothes.
Yeah.
I'm still going to have, a stove, a shelter, and I still want to be able to get that mule deer boned out, have the hide in there because I want to try to mount it. And carry that rack, and I still want to be able to go out on one trip. But like the amount of space I get in there, I can just throw it, make the pack taller, get everything in there. Like I'm super excited to take that on a nasty snowstorm. Of a hunt.
It's a sweet pack, and it's a niche use, but for a guy like you that understands it and has those types of hunts, it's pretty awesome and hard to beat.
I'll let you know how it works on a muley this year.
What's going on here?
I can see you mentally fight yourself.
We even got comments on the last podcast like, Brady, I thought you were a mule deer guy.
I'll send you a photo of how it works with a mule deer.
Hey, one cool fact about that pack, and you mentioned earlier the Inc. 5000 thing, but that pack this year was awarded by Fast Company as an Innovation by Design Award, which is a very mainstream award. It was super cool to be. So in the magazine where these awards were issued, that pack was listed next to like Apple products and Samsung products and like all these very mainstream.
That's awesome.
That's cool.
Design. So it's like this, they call it Innovation by Design, but there's all sorts of very broad spectrum of products they look at, and they have these different criteria.
That's a feather in your cap right there. That's awesome.
But yeah, it was pretty sweet
really cool
to see. It was literally like, it was listed with a product by Apple, and it's a small hunting company backpack.
I can almost see that
cool.
pack eventually being that one, like maybe some people who aren't hunting could like really look into too, because it is so lightweight. You can do anything with it if you wanted to.
Oh yeah, that'd be a backpacker's pack.
That pack at OR would crush, man. Yeah,
I love that material too. The outside material is different than the other packs, and
it is. Yeah, it's cool. I'm glad to hear that.
I got to test it all throughout the spring, and I was blown away. Especially like I was like, man, I'm gonna throw a bear in there. Bear is dense and big, and you got big hides, but I was able to do everything I needed to.
8,700 cubic inches is a big pack.
It's a big pack, but it's so lightweight. I can still just condense everything down if I want to do like a shorter hunt. But it's still going to be just 4 pounds. 4 pounds base weight. It's great to me. That's ounces I can put towards my optics, Yeah,
I think I'd love that pack to get recognized in the outdoor market a little more mainstream. Because you look at backpackers packs. I mean, there's a lot of lightweight packs in that space, and people are pretty into ultralight stuff. But they aren't designed to carry heavy loads, right? You look at through hikers and stuff. You put that pack on them compared to whatever the heck they're used to using, I think it would blow their mind. Yeah,
and I can still strap my rifle on the side of it. Like it doesn't have little pockets, but like you can still strap it right on there.
Yeah.
Took it in desert environments, beating that material up, took it in,
Yeah, that material's super durable. Super durable.
It's a great pack.
Yeah. I'm glad to hear that. That's good.
I love it.
Yeah, we were pretty stoked about
that one.
Yeah. Yeah, that's Kurt. Yeah, that was another one of his
little brainchild because his little babies, light and fast. Yeah,
one of his little babies.
Yeah, he likes to design those little niche products that everybody's like, "That's cool," but you might be the only person in the world that would really like that or use it. But there's other people out there. It turns out.
I'll do my best to convince more people to go over there because, like I said, I feel like for my style of hunting, it just works, and I think it's going to work really, really well when I get to these mule deer hunts.
See, I can see you mentally fight it. You want to say elk, and you have to like tell yourself to say mule deer.
Where do you got mule deer tags? Yeah,
Brady.
Yeah, where are they specifically?
Yeah, Brady.
Okay, I got two on the East Coast. One in Hawaii.
Hey, do you know? I have a fun fact for you, and I'll give Darren, our buddy George, a plug here. Do you guys know George Cook, one of our sales reps?
No. I don't think so.
He's gonna love. I'm gonna have to have him listen. He's gonna love this. He's laughing over there. Is he the only? Correct me if I'm wrong. He's the only person that's known to have killed a mule deer in all 16 states that mule deer live.
That's been eventually my goal as well.
Yeah.
I've mentioned it multiple times.
I gotta connect you up with him. You guys are gonna love each other. Yeah. But somebody wrote an article about it in a magazine. Yeah, he's told me about it a million times, and it's awesome. He's a great guy, and he loves to kill mule deer. Yeah. And then I finally read the magazine article, and it was pretty freaking impressive and interesting.
Yeah.
It was pretty wild.
I'm trying to do it slowly by building points everywhere. The only one that's going to be last is I'm really dreading going to California and trying to hunt mule deer there.
Come on.
I don't know. Just that thought of going to that state. I don't know.
That's an easy one.
Yeah, that's why I'm trying to
Yeah,
expand
that's
this
not what
year.
I thought you were going to
That's why
say.
some
I
of my-
thought I was going to say like Nebraska
Yeah,
or
me too.
something.
I was like,
No, I've had it
California. It's
like
just
even,
right there.
like even this year, I have a new state I'm going to try to
Where?
cross that one off. It's in the West. It's a deserty looking state,
Right.
maybe. Yeah. But it's trying new things, and I'm excited for the tags I have because I have more mule deer tags than I have elk tags. I always will do that trail.
Wrong.
But my strategy does work really well. So my whole entire life, I've never gave elk a chance at all, and I just built points up.
And you're
So I have a metric shit ton of elk points in every
Never
state. So
gave
one
elk
of
a
these years, people are
chance.
like, "Wow, Brady, you're a really good elk hunter." It's like, no, I just have primo tags because I have so many points, and I'm just shooting big bulls.
That's the
but I'm not
strategy.
really skilled at all. But I just am waiting my time. So this year I have a really good elk tag.
He's going to come back an elk guy. We all know it.
Yep.
Oh, man, this is awesome.
They do fill the freezer up a lot faster. I'll give them credit for that.
They are larger.
Mule deer are cool, but elk hunting's hard to beat, man.
Yeah.
You're an elk guy?
Oh, elk hunting's awesome, man.
Yes.
That's your favorite? Archery elk hunting. I think if I don't know, if you just had to choose one hunt to go do, archery elk hunting's pretty awesome. In the rut.
Yeah.
They're so noisy though.
I know, right?
Smart guy, this Jeff.
They're so
So
loud.
Jeff gets it.
I just want to be up there in
Smart-
glass, and all
smart
these
guy.
bulls are down there making all this noise. I'm trying to have a peaceful glassing session.
I don't know. It's weird. I think I enjoy archery elk hunting probably the most, but for whatever reason, big mule deer are cooler to look at. I don't know. They're sweet. I don't know.
I mean, have you seen a big bull?
I've seen big bulls. I don't know. Big mule deer are cool. I don't know why. I mean, obviously elk got more horn, but
Save a mule deer, killing elk.
We better wrap up. We've got an event tonight. We're going to do a pack fitting. So people that want to come down to the office, obviously they won't get to listen to this prior to the pack fitting, but you guys have one coming up, right? Like a get together.
Oh, yeah, we do. We have our annual summer bash, which
Okay.
is just a big open house, July 28th in Bozeman at our headquarters. So if you're interested and you're in the area or you want to travel into Bozeman, it's pretty fun. We usually do, we always do free beer, free food, live music. We do lots of good raffle prizes that support a local nonprofit conservation group. Last year we had some guys jump out of a helicopter and fly an American flag in.
Yeah,
That was
I saw
pretty
that. It was
cool.
pretty cool.
That's a
You
good
guys
time.
You guys have a new headquarters too, right?
Yeah,
New
we moved
office, new
in. Yeah,
headquarters?
moved into a new office about a year ago, a little
Yeah.
over a year ago, and it's been a real nice change for
Yeah, I
us.
stopped in there. Was it a month ago? And I was blown away. Like I've seen pictures of stuff, but you walk in there, and it's like this is a cool.
Yeah,
little
it
showroom
turned
thing.
out pretty cool.
Like
Yeah.
I said, I was saying earlier, like I really appreciate all like the conservation stuff you have in there, like all the stuff you guys have donated to over the years, like front and center. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
the plane's pretty sweet too. Like look at
Yeah.
the big plane in there. It's
Yeah,
like,
there's a bush plane hanging in the showroom. It's kind of
it's
cool.
like, where do you see that? Like only at Stone Glacier. You gotta go check it out.
Yeah, July 28th, Summer Bash. It's open to the public, no tickets or anything. Just show up and
Might have to
Be
make a
ready
trip
to have a
over
good
there.
time.
I'm
Have
just
some
saying.
beers.
Fun.
have some beers. Yep. We like to drink beer.
I would have never guessed.
Yeah, weird, huh?
I mean, no way, right?
I mean, this is the first podcast we drank beer on because we have a guy from Bozeman show up.
This is what Bozeman does to us.
Yeah,
Bad influence.
Los Angeles. Here we
yeah.
go.
I'll do it.
We appreciate you coming. And I guess we'll catch up with you hopefully soon.
Yeah.
We appreciate it. We appreciate everything Stone Glacier. We appreciate
Yeah,
the
for sure.
partnership with goHUNT. I think you guys have a cool brand. You've done something really cool. So we
Yeah.
appreciate
Keep,
you
keep
stopping by.
Likewise.
innovating. It's
Yeah.
a cool thing. Keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, likewise. Thanks for having me, and thanks for supporting Stone Glacier too. It's awesome. It's great.
Thanks, Jeff.
Yep.